and there's nothing really set in stone yet. They're all just rumors at this point, but they're rumors coming straight from the top of the company, man. And we'll go ahead and start with Len Asper, who is the CEO of Anthem, which owns Impact Wrestling. He was late night tweeting. I don't know, maybe he got a little sauced up. Who knows? There seems to be a theme in this company with some of their executives and some of the things they say. But he sent out a tweet saying that hey, I'm still here. I haven't tweeted in a while. I'm paraphrasing, obviously.
Right.
And then he ended it with he talked about some of their growth and expansion and yada yada yada, and then he ended it with a big new distribution deal coming soon. Let me get your thoughts on that. What do you think could possibly be? Have you heard anything? What's your opinion of that?
I haven't heard anything in my channels. I haven't necessarily looked into it a whole lot. I don't really have. I'm not really holding my breath on this one because he very well could be like, hey, and we got a TV deal in Zimbabwe, and they put out a lot of press releases for that kind of stuff. In South Africa, we just got this deal and this and that. And I don't even know if they have television in South Africa or not, but I'm just saying they've put out a lot of news for, we're in this country, we're in that country, and it's always from the United States point of view pretty insignificant. But for the company, it's probably a bigger deal than for us as viewers in the U.S. and some of the larger companies that watch the show, Canada, the UK and everything like that. I'm not really holding my breath though, because as he even said, like Len Asper's not much of a tweeter. He may have thought, okay, I'm just going to put this tweet out. Didn't realize it would really take off the way that it did. And a lot of people are talking themselves into, okay, they're a big TV deal is coming and everything. And I just don't see something like that happening. If that did happen, wonderful. But, we see these television deals they've had keep getting worse and worse and worse. And really the live viewership has gotten smaller and smaller and smaller. Even with Pop TV, which was an era that I absolutely loved covering the company. They were doing 3 times what they do right now, live viewership, So a larger network is probably not going to come around and be like, okay, we see you guys doing this 125,000 people viewing. We want in on this. I don't know if I totally see that happening. So, I mean, I feel like he's going to announce something that has to do with a television deal in another company. That's, again, and it's no disrespect to any other company, but I'm just saying I feel like it's gonna be something like that. I mean, not company, but any other country, because I feel like it's gonna be something it's not significant to us as the main body of viewers,
Yeah. So my first thought whenever he tweeted that I was like, oh my gosh, this is a Dixie Carter and
Right.
announcing the India deal, which means absolute dick to the main fan base here. Now, India has carried them a long time. That was actually a significant deal to her credit. But it really meant nothing to us. And that wasn't really like something that they really needed to advertise on Twitter and like this big, huge announcement. Right. So I felt like, Uzbekistan or something like that. They're going to announce that, but
Yeah.
What did get me is the last time that he tweeted that something major was going to happen in Impact, it was the Rebellion deal where they had the title, Omega and Swan. That ended up being the biggest, pay-per-view in the history of Anthem owned Impact, right? So there's that. Also, MLW has been, they were teasing for a long time that they had a streaming deal coming, and he used the word distribution. So, people can interpret it whether it's TV, streaming, whatever.
Right.
He MLW's been teasing that for a long time, and then the bottom just fell out, and then I didn't really get a confirmation, but it looks like the deal they had in place is not going to happen right now, or it's on hold indefinitely. I don't know the state of it, and maybe they are competing in the same space. Maybe Impact got in on that. It would seem kind of weird to me that they would sign a streaming deal with another company right now, a month after they introduced their Impact Insiders account on YouTube, which is not doing great numbers. I think that they're getting like 2,000 a week, which, if most at most is $5 a pop, but most of the people are paying 99 cents a month for that, right?
Right.
So that's not huge. That's not huge business right there. So they could easily just shit can that, and that they wouldn't be at a loss for nothing. So so I did start thinking streaming deal, and then I did start thinking, okay, well, who out there is looking for content? And Paramount Plus, it was rumored earlier in the summer that they were looking to add combat sports content, and then sure enough, within 2 weeks, Combate Global, that used to be on Access, is on Paramount. I don't think they're getting a big rights fee. I think that that's just kind of the Spanish station that they're on pays for most of that production, so Paramount's probably getting that on the cheap there. And so I was thinking maybe that's what it is. MLW used to be on DAZN, and they're no longer on DAZN. So I was thinking maybe DAZN's looking to add some pro wrestling content finally and get serious about it. But who knows there. But what so I was talking myself into that a little bit. And then I really started to think, because like maybe this is the UK deal, and I think that would be pretty significant for Impact. Most American fans wouldn't care, but their fan base over there, which was rabid for a long time, it was probably the number one fan base for a while. They used to sell at big arenas over there for Impact. Has really been missing out for a long time, and I think that would be huge news for that fan base, for them to get on a sustainable station, because they were on that channel called Free Sports. I think it was called Free Sports for a reason, because they ain't paying shit for that content.
Right.
So maybe it's a UK deal. And maybe it's big, maybe it's not, but I think it's an exciting time, and I hope it's big. I do hope that for the company, because I was watching on Impact Plus tonight. I watch it, within 30 minutes after the show ends, and I heard that some folks had some more issues on the YouTube Insider thing that they have. It was like the stream was lagging and things like that. And I was like, look, it'd be so much better if they just got rid of this whole app and sold it to an actual competent provider and let them handle the distribution. Completely the opposite of what we felt about WWE Network going to Peacock, where we're like, man, we miss WWE Network. They were way more competent, but and the interface was much better. But now it's like, okay, I think somebody needs to take this thing over for them and just sell their rights to a competent provider. So I think that's the best case scenario.
I actually forgot they weren't airing in the UK, and that's something that is pretty major, because that was I don't know for sure, but I'm fairly certain that was their second biggest TV deal behind India. So I think India and UK were the two big ones that's always kept TNA afloat, especially India. I think India is they were making about 7 times or something more than what the UK was paying them, but that was still one of their bigger television deals. So, hopefully it's something like that. Now, this is a company that's very proud of their freaking library. I mean, anyone who will pick up the TNA library, they will hook up with, even if they're making 5 cents a month off it, I think. So, this could be something where, like, we found another company that's going to stream the TNA library. And a lot of the times when they announce these companies, they're like stream platforms you've never heard of before.
Yeah, well, Plex and Samsung and Roku and all that.
Random. So hopefully it's something. Right. That's exactly. So hopefully it is something that has to do with the UK, because that would be something that even here in the States would be excited about, because we remember what those big arena shows look like, and that would be revenue for the company that would help the company grow if they were able to get that back in, and hopefully start maybe expanding the roster, because maybe they have more coming in. I actually watched the show on the YouTube Insider, the Impact Insider, tonight. It's the first time I did. It wasn't a pleasant viewing experience at all. It was very laggy. I would say for the first hour or so, I don't know what everyone else's experience was. Mine particularly, the first hour, it was jumping around a lot. So I'd be watching a segment, someone's talking, and then all of a sudden it seems to fast forward about 15 seconds. And it was kind of happening like that during the matches too. So it wasn't a good experience. And you said it best, like, get some professionals in charge of doing this stuff. From what I've gathered from some of my conversations I've had within Impact is that when somebody leaves the company, they typically seem to promote within. They like who's next up, and that sounds great on paper, but I think they've done that so many times that the people in charge of certain aspects are, notches below the people originally running stuff. Like it's like Jeremy Borash leaves or something like that. And okay, well, this guy's going to step up, and then that guy leaves, and then someone else is going to step up. And by the time you got the, Bob in accounting stepping up doing the, some really, really major stuff. And I just think we're to the point that we just don't have professionals running certain parts of the company. I could be totally wrong with that, but even if you look back at Twitch, when they first started announced, hey, we're going to be doing these Twitch shows, I mean, the viewership was phenomenal for that stuff, but the camera work was horrible. The streaming experience was complete crap. And now it got to the point where, they still have issues with this stuff, but now the Twitch shows, the Impact Plus shows, they're much better than they used to be, but so many people don't care now because at the very height of all this, when they really launched the app, when they launched Twitch and everything, there were so many bugs, so many issues. Now everyone's just like, I'm not dealing with it, So there was a missed opportunity for me because I just don't think they were ready back when they kicked everything off. And now, now people don't even want to give it a chance. It's just becoming a running joke. Like what's going to be the audio issue this week, and I feel just watching the show week to week that I'm watching a very amateur show when it comes to the editing. Like there was this angle last week. They were filming something backstage, and they were. I want to say it was with Moose. It wasn't Moose. I'm sorry. It was the All About Me locker room talk segment. That's what it was. And they were doing Caleb with a K and Johnny Swinger talking back and forth to each other, and they were looking directly into the camera. In no field of television, in no broadcast, do they say look directly at the camera. I mean, it just looks like it. I don't know what they were trying to accomplish with that, but it just looked so amateur. Do you understand? Do you know what I'm talking about? The segments where they're talking back and forth, looking directly in the camera. Like you can watch a movie, a sitcom. That's just not how you do television. With the exception maybe live sports broadcasting, that's just not how you film segments. And there's just so much of it that looks amateur. It sounds amateur. At one point, We Own the Night in this particular episode, ran through 3 segments in a row.
Oh my
They
gosh.
just had it on for 3 segments in a row. I'm like, who comes up with it? Like this sounds horrible. When you just hear this song playing throughout the show. Especially through that, 3 straight segments. I feel like a real professional, an audio guy, video guy would hear some of this stuff, look at some of this stuff and be like, yo, what are you doing? So for me right now, the viewership experience has been very, very rough.
Yeah. And you would think Dave Sahadi, who's been around forever, would get a handle on this shit because he's in charge of the production, right? He's ultimately the guy. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, I think that he's got a skeleton crew and most of his people are, students and rookies and people willing to work for, hot dog and a handshake, and just to get their foot in the door. And then, hey, we'll train you up a little bit and then you can go to a real production after this, and that's unfortunate given that, they're owned by a television company, which is pretty weird.